it's going to get really hot as we move in through the week. So already making preparations, even as search and rescue continues to try to meet the needs of so many displaced people with those challenges coming up. As of 11 a.m. this morning, we can confirm 25 fatalities across 5 counties. That number will continue to grow and to be refined. Remember, we don't have cell service in some areas. So please be patient as we get new information or if it changes. We continue to pray for the families that have suffered an unfathomable loss, some having lost almost everyone in their household. Rescuers at the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife have been at the forefront of these recovery efforts. They've had to ultimately gather the bodies more than just about anybody else. So please also pray for those first responders. Their mission's been especially challenging, and what they're experiencing firsthand is tremendously stressful and difficult. We thank them for what they're doing. Deaths include 4 in Breathitt County, 2 in Clay, 14 in Knott, 2 in Letcher, and 3 in Perry. Again, those will continue to rise. If there's one piece of good news, we now believe there are only 4 children in this group and not 6. The original 2 children that were reported to us have turned out to be adults. Now, those are still 2 people that have been lost, and we grieve for them, but wanted to make sure we got our most recent information out. And listen, information is going to change as we get it. This is still an emergency situation. We are in search and rescue mode. But again, that count is going to continue to go up, and we don't lose this many people in flooding. This is a real tough one. There are a number of rescues going on, though. If our Kentucky National Guard and others are doing incredible work, and we are grateful. Kentucky National Guard has rescued 404 individuals by aircraft. That's just over the last couple days. That is incredible. Tennessee National Guard, which is helping us out, 224 additional people. West Virginia National Guard, 36. So an incredible number of air rescues that have gone on. 19 people and 2 dogs rescued by the National Guard by boat. Kentucky State Police have assisted or are assisting in 624 water rescues. And the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife has assisted in 125 water rescues. We are so grateful to all of those responders, and a special thank you to the governors and the Guard of Tennessee and West Virginia. Kentucky State Police is responding and actively searching for people. Listen, it is a really hard thing right now with how wide the destruction is, areas that are impacted, to get any firm number on people that are missing. The best thing people can do is report their loved ones to these numbers. This is how you report a loved one that you can't find, that you can't reach. We need their names, and the Kentucky State Police will go out and find them. And we want to be able to locate your loved one. Here's the list. Pike, McGoffin, Johnson, Martin, and Floyd have 1 post number. Breathitt, Knott, Leslie, Letcher, and Perry, another. Owsley, Jackson, and Lee, another. Wolf and Morgan, and then Harlan. And these correspond to where your loved one is, because these are the posts that serve those counties. So if your loved one is in Pike, you call that first number, 606-433-7171. If your loved one is in Jackson, you're going to call the 859-623-2404 number. Ask our press to please continue to get out these numbers. Phone lines, again, are extremely busy. Keep calling. We also put out an email address that I don't have in front of me right now. Yesterday, we will get that by the end of the briefing. A command staging area has been established in the Hazard Armory for emergency personnel only. The public should not travel to it. Here is the email address, and we will post this online too, that you can email with your loved ones' information. Currently, we have 142 people that are staying in temporary housing at Jenny Wiley State Resort Park. Rooms are fully booked, but the campgrounds are available, and we're sending travel trailers down to increase our capacity as we speak. Pine Mountain State Resort Park has 6 rooms available. We haven't had any displaced folks go there yet. Buckhorn, this is in Perry County. We really need this state park to be open, and we're working really hard at it. People can't get to it or haven't been able to get to it because of the roads being blocked. Transportation Cabinet knows that this is mission number 1 in that area for them. The building is also without power. The park is. We've got electricians that are there that are figuring out what type of generators we need. We are going to get this up and running. The shelters are overwhelmed in that county, and we know that this will really help people out. There are 15 emergency shelters that are currently active. They're on our flood resource website. That is governor.ky.gov/flood-resources. There are the addresses there are for Clay County, Floyd, Knott, Letcher has 3. Perry has a bunch. Pike, Wolf are the ones that we currently have physical addresses for. We want to direct people to those links. And for those that are looking at sending help, we'll have the addresses that you can send donations up soon. Red Cross, if you've been impacted by the recent flash floods, the Red Cross number is 1-800-RED-CROSS. That's 1-800-733-2767. FEMA search and rescue teams are engaged in rescue operations in Kentucky right now as well. Additional teams are going to be activated. FEMA is actually moving ahead of schedule. I got word today in anticipation of the state getting an individual assistance declaration. They're already moving people to Kentucky that will be able to help process people's claims and loss. And that's it. It's a big step, and it's going to help a lot of people. 18 tractor trailer truckloads of water are being provided to the state of Kentucky by FEMA. Remember, water is out. I'll read that in a minute. Water's out in a number of these counties, and it's going to get really hot next week. So the provision of water is really important. I think ARH Hazard also doesn't have access to working water. I think the Distillers Association and others are sending water that way. Our mobile emergency operations vehicle is now supporting the KYEOC. 5 mobile communications vehicles are en route to the communities. We are working real hard at getting cell phone service back up. I think that a number of the companies are working together in ways that we maybe haven't had to ask them to do before, but we appreciate that. Okay, overall, a federal disaster declaration was signed by President Biden on Friday. That followed my state of emergency signed on Thursday. 14 counties and at least 3 cities have also declared emergencies. The counties are Breathitt, Clay, Floyd, Letcher, Owsley, Pike, Lee, Perry, Leslie, Magoffin, Martin, Johnson, Knott, and Wolf. And at least 3 cities, the ones I have, are Beattyville, Paintsville, and Salyersville. Power outages, down from yesterday, but still a lot. And as the numbers go down, it's going to be areas harder and harder to reach. So right now, 18,000 plus power outages being reported. Good news here. Restoration should mostly wrap up tonight in Johnson, Magoffin, and Martin counties. Customers in Floyd and Pike County should be 95% restored by Sunday night. Restoration will continue into next week in Breathitt, Knott, Letcher, and Perry counties. So this is important for a lot of reasons. Number one, everybody needs power, but as it gets hot this next week, it could create its own emergency. So this will mean that, and certainly in those counties, we can open cooling centers. We're already speaking to local officials on that. And then where there is not power, we're going to be working to set up similar centers, and we'll have to find ways through generators and others to power those. Water outages. According to Emergency Response Branch Division of Waste Management, 18 wastewater systems are under limited operation. That's primarily because their infrastructure has been flooded. 3 wastewater plants are experiencing bypasses. 19 water systems have limited operation due to power outages. So next number is about service connections. That could be a house, a business. That's like one hookup. 26,480 service connections are without water. That's a lot. And then there are 29,214 additional service connections that are receiving water, but you need to boil it. It's not safe. 3 drinking water systems are totally out of operation at the moment. In Breathitt County Water District, 3,245 service connections without water. Fleming Neon Water, 1,402 without water. Jackson Municipal Waterworks, 2,329 service connections without water. How about a piece of really good news? The Panbowl Lake Dam, which we were incredibly worried about. We thought we were going to have a breach. We had to evacuate the area. The river water is down 10 feet. Leaks are almost zero. A hazardous and dangerous situation no longer exists, and the road is back open. Kentucky 15, all the barricades are removed. This is really good news. Jackson has been hit really, really hard. Glad it is not going to get any worse, at least pending that next rain. Natural gas, 135 customers in Heidemann are without natural gas service due to flooding, and Frontier Gas has had to shut off the system in Jackson due to flooding. They've got about 10 feet of water there, 635 customers without gas, and no restoration will start until the water recedes. That could be next week. We got emergency response crews from Energy and Environment Cabinet in Breathitt, Floyd, Knott, Magoffin, Clay, and Leslie counties. Many of the side roads and secondary drainages within these primary basins are inaccessible due to deteriorated roadways or debris pile. Division of Forestry has 33 personnel on SAW teams in Eastern Kentucky. They're in Breathitt, Letcher, Perry, and Knott. I think we're going to have some more teams in the field here soon. They, along with heads of all these groups, are over at the EOC. I was with them for several hours or over an hour this morning. They are working really hard. They've been there since the start. Fish and Wildlife, 14 boat teams are in Eastern Kentucky, and 24 conservation officers are working each shift. There are 2 conservation officers assigned to Emergency Operations Command Post in Hazard. In addition to law enforcement personnel, we have a chainsaw crew of 6 to 8 Wildlife Division staff on the ground. Transportation, the road into Buckhorn Lake State Resort Park again, that's Kentucky Route 1883, could be reopened today. It's really important to that area to get that done. At least 10 bridges remain closed in Knott, Letcher, Perry, and Pike counties. Full assessment can't be done until the water further recedes. In Manchester, in the Manchester Highway District, all state routes are reported reopened in Clay County. Highway crews cleared about 100 rock and mudslides, and thus far have replaced or repaired about a dozen highway culverts. Turning attention to helping Clay County crews clear and reopen roads in that area. The crews are busy clearing roads in Pikeville Highway District and assessing damage to their own equipment and facilities. And the Transportation Cabinet is also engaged in hauling water and other supplies. A crew from the Paducah Highway District was instrumental in providing temporary housing for tornado victims last winter. They are traveling to Eastern Kentucky to do the same. It's hard to say that there is good that can come out of a disaster, but we learned a lot about temporary housing in that tornado disaster, and we have travel trailers on hand that are moving to Eastern Kentucky right now. We can take the crew that was there in Western Kentucky because we have 0 people on the waiting list. They know the challenges. They know the best places to put these. We are going to have travel trailers in Eastern Kentucky for people faster than we have ever seen before. Big thank you to that Paducah area team pitching in. They're really good people. They're really good at what they do. The relief fund that we set up as of today, 5,673 donations for $684,688.09. If you want to donate, that is the Team EKY Flood Relief Fund.ky.gov. Fully transparent, open, subject to open records, only fund that we know that can and will be audited, that will testify on. It can, and we pledge that 100% of the funds that come in, absent some credit card fees that they'll do, will go to the victims to help them as they get back on their feet. Announcing today the first expenditure will be the same that we were able to do for the tornado victims, and that's paying for funerals. I don't want people to have to go through a process of reimbursement, to have to apply. We appreciate that FEMA has that program, but the least that we ought to be able to do is grieve together. We'll work with the coroners and the Department of Public Health to directly identify the families of those we've lost and to work directly with them on these expenses. I guess it's the least that we can do to be there with these folks in an incredibly difficult time. We care about you, and we can't imagine the grief you're going through right now. All right. I think that's the update as we have it right now. Again, this is still an active search and rescue operation. We have not moved into a rebuilding phase and won't be in one for several days, if not potentially several weeks. Our goal today is to get as many people to safety as possible. And as people in these areas are looking at the next couple days, make a plan for Sunday afternoon through Monday when the storms leave. Make sure you are in a safe place. I don't want to lose one more person. We care about you. It's not fair this is going to rain again, but it is. We're pretty sure of it. And while it's not going to be, or it's not anticipated to be anything like what we've already been through, there's a lot of saturation and there's a lot of water out there. That also brings up there is still a lot of water with a current out there. Be careful. Be careful. You're still with us. We want you to stay with us. And so make sure you use good practices, whether that's around down power lines or moving through water. All right. We'll open it up to questions. We'll start with Tom Latek.
Thank you, Governor, and good afternoon to you. I missed the first part. For some reason, I didn't catch the first part of your remarks. Can you give me the latest number on casualties, and have you been able to get a handle on the number of missing persons?
We're at 25 confirmed casualties. If there is one piece of good news, we now believe there are only 4 children and not 6 children in that number. The original 2 children that were reported have turned out to be adults, but those are still 2 people that we have lost. Still trying to get an accurate way to count missing persons when we can't get to certain areas. Cell phone service is still down in so many areas. And in some of these areas, it's going to be hard to know exactly how many people were living there in the first place. We get certain numbers that come in, but until we have full cell phone service up, I mean, you could assume there are hundreds of people that they might be fine. I hope they're fine, but that their loved ones haven't established contact with them yet. Again, we hope in the coming days as service is up that we can get a better handle on that. Debbie Yetter, Courier Journal.
Hi, Governor. I wondered if it's even possible yet to estimate the cost of the loss to this region. And will there be a way to compensate people who are uninsured and underinsured, as were many in Western Kentucky?
Yeah. Uh, no, no number yet. I mean, I can't imagine that it's not going to be in the tens, if not the hundreds of millions of dollars, but we're just not there yet, still being in the search and rescue. I do believe that this will qualify for individual assistance under FEMA. I asked the president to do that. He responded very favorably. He said to me he wanted to cut through red tape. And so FEMA's working on the paperwork to get to him. That can provide assistance to uninsured folks. I have talked to them about wanting to make the process simpler in some way. Also got their commitment to have people on the ground to help process, and today asked for more people than I think they had originally planned to have on the ground to help process. And we're working on that right now. FEMA's certainly going to be able to go door to door, which is very helpful. And then we're working on setting up kind of a one-stop center that we hope people could make their FEMA claim, get their driver's license if they need to apply for unemployment. We want to try to make this easy is not the right word. You know, I just don't want folks that have lost everything to have to go 8 or 9 places. As emotional as I'm sure it is, we ought to try to make it as convenient for them as possible. Oh, yeah. I'm going to move over for the last couple questions. We have Colonel Slinker, who is commanding the EOC on the line. I got rolling, Colonel. Sorry.
On to be able to talk and report a few things. First, I just want to mention and substantiate many of the things you've said. All of us here at the EOC, local, state, and federal partners have locked arms and leaned in very aggressively to provide support to the area and our colleagues, friends, and counterparts that are there on the ground working hard, and those citizens that were so drastically affected by this flood. We do that by having multiple briefings throughout the day where we all know what each other's doing, and that way if we hear any gaps and the other partner can fill it, we jump right in there and do that. Again, I can't say enough about the teamwork here and the teamwork downrange. And as we grieve with our friends and partners down there, we also are committed to helping them. We also have county calls with county officials, county EM directors, and city officials to discuss what are the unmet needs in the county. And then we immediately, once that meeting's over, start filling those requests or tracking down the appropriate response we have as that. And as you've mentioned multiple times, water. Water is a significant need in every county, and that includes bottled water is the most important. Non-potable water to run some facilities, and shower units are also in great need, and we are working all of those resources as fast as possible, and they will be there immediately. We have shipped countless number of tractor and trailers of water, and as you mentioned, FEMA is bringing in tractor and trailers of water as well. So we'll continue doing that. And as we've talked about many times, we'll keep going by asking for everything that's needed. And that's been supported by you and Administrator Criswell, and FEMA has made a significant number of commitments to helping us. And we won't waver on that. And there'll be nothing, no rock unturned or nothing left undone to help out up there.
Thank you, Colonel. As
you.
Colonel Slinker was saying, the standing orders that I gave are we respond. We'd rather do too much than too little. We want to make sure that we can do everything we can do to help folks. All right, Bria Jones, WFPL.
Hello, Governor. With getting communications back online for folks, what does that like? How's that process looking, and when is there a timeline that those communications, like cell phone communications, will be back up? Because it seems like that'll be a big part in helping with like reconnection efforts and things like that, especially with folks having those numbers. If they're in the areas but they haven't been able to contact the family member, or for them to even report missing persons if they don't have any cell service.
Getting cell service up is absolutely critical. We saw it in the tornadoes. We're seeing it now. We were able to work with Verizon and Appalachian Wireless. That got a lot of people back up and running. A lot of places that don't have service yet, the challenge has been getting to them to set up some of those mobile service towers. Providers as well as emergency management have mobile towers that we can get up, but again, it is about safely getting there. We will, when cell phone service is fully restored, start getting a much more accurate picture about people missing. Just as importantly, people will be able to contact their family member who they've been worried about for days, and to ensure that they are okay. Certainly one of the most important pieces of infrastructure to get back up as quickly as you can in these situations is cell phone service. It was it was a little easier to do in Western Kentucky with the tornadoes because, again, there wasn't standing water or running water that we couldn't get through there. It was most of the time about getting around debris. So the moment that it is safe, we will be there working on restoring it. One of the most important missions, no question. Karen Czar.
Thank you, Governor. Governor, I ran across a lot of residents who lost their cell phones along with their contacts, other residents who were going out on their own on boats to help try and find people, other residents just taking paper notes of who's coming off rescue boats. What is the best place for those of us who've gotten out and are going back in to tell these people as to where they can go to either, one, get a replacement phone quickly, and two, turn over these lists? Where's the best place for them to go to get this information to your departments? Thank you.
Let us get you a response on where people can get cell phones. I have seen that there are some facilities set up, but I don't have that information in front of me. I do want to put up the Kentucky State Police numbers again. This helps us to know who's missing and how to find them. The most important thing that people can do is call these numbers. The posts are keeping these lists, and then they're able to check on people when they find people safe. Certainly, we want to make sure that we are calling that family back and letting them know, or providing them means to make that call themselves. KSP has taken on this mission. We want to drive those calls and notifications through them. Kentucky State Police have been nothing short of phenomenal, and we really appreciate their calming presence, but also their capabilities at the most difficult time. So we got no rain for about the next day and a half, and everybody out there, Guard and KSP, all of our local units, the Mayfield Fire Chief and his crew, and the rest are focused today on search and rescue. We have high axle National Guard vehicles that are going to be able to get to places that vehicles have not been able to get to until today because the water is down some. My hope is that if we still have folks that need water rescue, that as the water recedes, that will become more possible. A lot of amazing people on the ground right now responding to something that is just seemed unimaginable before a couple of days ago. Keep praying. I'm worried that we're going to be finding bodies for weeks to come. Keep praying. I hope there are no more we ought to expect. There will be more loss, and pray for the families that we know have already lost individuals. They're going to need your help and your support, and I know who we are as people. We're going to be there for them. Thanks.